Okay, welcome to staining Andrea's mother's house. And normally I would not do a video like this, but frankly this is going to take us a long time, so I might as well do a video of it. Plus I want to do some before and after shots. So what you're seeing here right now is the south side. The south side, as you can tell, is a little worse for wear. Andrea's mother had a few, probably 2 or 3 people come through. One person actually power washed it, and they were going to do the staining, and then I guess it was too complicated for them, so they did not charge her for the power washing, and then they backed out. And then she's gotten a few other people come over, and the only people, they either would not give her pricing to do this, or they would give her pricing and do what we call a screw you proposal, which is they would be willing to do the work, but they don't want to do the work, so they're going to charge a lot of money for it. Andrea and I are in architecture, and sometimes you do that in architecture where you know the client is going to be a pain, and because some clients are better than others, so you know the client is going to be the pain, and the client is insistent on all this stuff, and you don't really have time to do it, you don't really want to do it, so you give them a really high proposal, and to basically make them go away. But sometimes the clients accept, and then you have to do the work anyway. So anyway, so after all that, we decided that we're going to be doing the staining. I really don't want to do this, don't have time to do it, but whatever, here we are. So as you can tell, I'm extremely enthusiastic about doing this. So I'm going around the entire house. For anybody that doesn't know, this is a log cabin tiny house. It's less than 400 square feet, but due to the South Carolina and Horry County requirements, because that's where we are, it's still considered as a single wide manufactured home, even though it was built under the RV code, because park models / tiny houses are built under the RV code, where a single wide or double wide like our house is built under the HUD manufacturing code. And then of course if you have a stick built home like a regular house or an apartment or something like that, that's built under the International Building Code. So yeah, it's confusing. But Horry County in South Carolina still consider this to be like a single wide, not like an RV. So we were actually able to have it down here, and then we had to have the straps and all that type of good stuff, which I'm not going to get into now. But these are actual log cabin, which means that as you see the wood pieces right there, that's how thick the wood walls are. All the interior walls look like that, all the exterior walls look like that. And so you have to treat this thing basically like kid gloves, because honestly, this is not the best environment for this type of house. Andrea's father was insistent. He wanted to have a log house. This type of house would be a lot better in like a mountain environment or a desert environment. Here we're subtropical humid environment, so we just have to do more maintenance on it. So hence the staining of it. It's 2024 now. The house was built in 2016, and it's been in South Carolina the entire time. And I think they have done an initial staining of it previously, but this is going to be more expansive than that. Now, if you look at it here, this is the sap that has been oozing through from the knots. And so we've tried to get that off as much as possible, but as you can see, some of it we were not able to get off, but it does look a lot better than what it did. And so that is that. Anything else? So I think this is the last of the before. What we want to do is we want to start staining. Now the color of the stain is going to be the same as what's up here. So what we want to do on the north side, we want to do one coat. One coat will be enough for that because it does not really get a whole lot of exposure. On the south side here, we want to try to get 2 to 3 coats. And on the east side, which is over here, I want to try to get at least two coats on it. And the west side, inside the porch is fine because it's covered. But on the outside where the strips are, where the wood strips are, I want to try to put 2 to 3 coats on that, but that's not a whole lot. So without further ado, Andrea and I are going to start staining. Okay, we stained the south side here. Took us hour and a half, so about 3 man hours to do this side here. And so it's been sitting and drying for I think about 2 hours now. Yeah, it feels kind of tacky to dry, so that's good. Now when we did it earlier, there was no clouds and no wind. And it was only about 75 degrees, but it about killed us. So we are not doing this side again today. So what I'm getting ready to do is get ready to do the north side. But I wanted to come out here and I wanted to document this to see what one coat has done. Obviously the areas that were bare are still discolored. But even the manufacturer directions on the can says that it would take multiple coats, but it does look like it has started seeping in, and so I will call that good. I'm hoping after another 2 coats it will blend together, but we're not going to know about that for another couple of days. But I just wanted to show what this looks like as of right now. I was at the chicken coop earlier, which, let me pan around. The chicken coop is back there, so it's about 150 feet away. And the bare spots do look significantly better from that distance. So I think it's working. It's just going to take a few coats in order to do it. So now, luckily, we're only going to be doing the other sides just once, because like if you look at the east side here, you know, this is in really good shape. North side's in good shape. So we just want to put a coat on that just for protection. So I'm going to start with the north side, and then probably the next video update will probably be tomorrow after we put the second coat on, because it's primarily the south side with these exposed areas that we're concerned about. But I wanted to document it and to see what it looks like on the video, because I can be able to look at it a lot better and say, here it is before, here it is after the first coat, here it is after the second coat, etc. So it's kind of selfish from my part, but everybody else gets to see it too. Okay, this is a few hours after we've done the second coat on the south side. And as you can see, the spots that were bare are getting a lot darker now, which means it's absorbing a lot of the stain, which is good. And the worst offenders is at the bottom strip right there, which actually is not too surprising because that probably gets the worst of it. But if you look closer here, like there's right there and over here, that the stain is coming in and it is looking a lot better than what it was. We're going to put a coat on tomorrow also, and then we're going to see where we are. And then from about that point on, depending on how much stain we have left, we're going to just probably pot shot it and not do the whole wall. Now the other thing I'm concerned about is this right here. This, I think, is the edge of what was a big knot. And so this whole area right here is just one big sap area. And so we've been putting a lot of stain on it to try to cover it up. We were obviously not able to get all the sap out. So we'll have to monitor that. I think it'll be okay. It's been that way for several years now, so we'll just keep an eye on it. But that's it. We did also do this side today too. But now we got one more day. The good thing is it took Andrea and I a combined 3 hours to do this yesterday. Well, because we were faster, etc., etc., it only took us 2 hours combined to do it today. So, you know, faster is always better. So that is good. So now we got one more coat to do on this side. We also have the east side to do, which we're going to do tomorrow afternoon. And then other than just pot shotting some stuff, I think we're going to start wrapping this up. Okay, last night, probably around 5 o'clock, 5:30 or so, Andrea came out here and she just touched up where the bare spots were. So like that spot right there. So you can still see them, but they're a lot darker now than what they have been. And so even our big sap spot right there, even that's darker than what it was. The bottom here is a lot darker. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get this perfect to where it's going to be uniform, but it's definitely a lot better than what it was. And so what we're doing now is we're getting ready to start the third coat over this entire side. So we're going to do the third coat over this side, and then this afternoon when the shade's on the east side, we're going to do that side. Then we're going to see how these bare spots are and then possibly do some more touch-up stuff. And then we're going to be done with this, which is going to make us very excited. So I'm thinking, I mean, regardless whether we're going to get it 100% uniform, it looks already 100 times better than what it did before we started. Okay, here's the few hours after the third coat and the fourth coat of what was the bare areas. And as you can see, except for a few spots like the window trim right there and some of the bottom trim piece, I would say probably about 50% or more of what was originally bare is now blending in fairly good with the rest of the wall here. And so what Andrea wanted to do is probably either today or tomorrow come back in for one final coat over the what was originally the bare areas. But basically this is about done now. What we're getting ready to do is do the east side, and so we obviously wanted to do that in the afternoon so we could be in the shade. So here's the east side right here. The last time that this was stained, you can't really tell because it's in the shade, but the top part of the gable there was not stained. So we're going to try to stain that twice while we're over here. So that's what we're getting ready to do now. And then pretty much it's just some touch up after that. And then hopefully we can call this. Okay. Andrea, a couple hours ago, just put on the last touch-up coat for the house. It's been about a week since we did the final coat because it had threatened to rain several times, and then it sprinkled, and then we'd have to wait a day, and then about the time was up, and then it would start sprinkling again, and etc., etc. So you can still see the areas a little bit, and I think the only way to not have this happen where you would still see it a little bit is that you just have to sand the entire wall down and start over again. And we were obviously not going to do that. I didn't have the time or the patience to deal with that. So here's the front here. Now the front and the north side here and the east side all only got one coat. Andrea's mom actually stained her door today. She insisted on doing something, so we told her she could stain her door, so that's what she did. And then here's the north side. The shade kind of makes it look better than it is, but it is in pretty good shape. So being on the north side, it doesn't have that sun bearing down on it all the time. And then the east side over here, we only put one coat on this, although the upper part we put two coats on because when they went to stain it the last time, they didn't stain the very top of it, so we put two coats up there, and we put one coat everywhere else. So one last look here. And the good thing is it didn't take as long as I thought it would to actually do this. I thought it was going to take a total of about 30 or 40 hours, and it was a total of about 20. So I will, anytime it's less time than your estimates, I always call that a good day. So now I'll be curious because I'm going to stitch all these video components together so I can see what all these different stains look as we went coat by coat by coat. And so we'll have to do this southern side probably again in another 2 years.